Hello, this is C-Dub. My message for this video is a turning video. I'm using my lathe. Now I have a project here that I want to show you that it started out as one project and then I started making another project, and both of those projects were fails. So I thought about what to do with it because I never throw wood away unless I have to, which is very seldom. So I thought about how could I combine these two projects together to come up with a third project. Well, through my own lack of thinking ahead of time, the third project was a fail, but I know where it failed and I'm going to be able to correct it fairly easily to be able to make it a usable project. Now the first project was I took two pieces of oak that were I believe the dimensions were 6 inches by 6 inches. They were some scrap oak that I had left over, and I laminated them together. I sandwiched them together, glued them together. I cut them into a circle, and my idea was I was going to turn them and make a wood bracelet out of it. I have two daughters, and they're both into jewelry like most young girls are, and I wanted to make some wooden jewelry for them. And what I did was, after I cut the wood basically into a round shape, I put it on this chuck right here that goes onto my shopsmith. It chucks onto the power end, and it's got a screw right here. And then I took that screw and I screwed it down into the two pieces of wood that were glued together. Now I knew that they would be spinning at a pretty good RPM, so I let them glue up for about a week before I even attempted to turn them. Well, I had never used this particular chuck before or turned anything on a screw. So when I got it all chucked up and ready to go, I stood back, I turned it on, and I let it run for a couple of minutes just to see how it was going to react. Well, everything seemed good, not a problem. So I turned my shopsmith off. I set up my tool rest and everything so that I could turn it and take it down to the dimensions I wanted before I start to cut the thickness on it. And lo and behold, I had my shopsmith set at about 500 RPMs. And it's spinning fine, not a problem. As soon as I touched it the first time with my gouge, the screw, I don't know if it was off center, under strength or whatever, but the screw broke and I had a piece of oak flying at me. I'm not really sure how fast it was flying, but when it hit me in the forehead, it bounced off my chest and hit me in the forehead. It felt like it was going about 1,000 miles an hour. It about took me off my feet. Luckily, I was wearing my full face shield, and I got a little bruise right up here, and then nothing up on my forehead because it hit the band that goes across on my face shield. I really got lucky on that. Well, by the time I decided to get around to checking out what was going on with the wood and everything, I had to dig the broken screw out of it. As far as I'm concerned, I had ruined the wood that I was going to use to make a bracelet out of. Well, not being one to throw wood away, I just set it on aside and figured I'd find it I'd use it for a different project later on down the road. The second failed project that I had was I turned this on my shopsmith. This is O'Shea orange. I took a piece of O'Shea orange, ripped it lengthwise, laminated it together, and I let it set for about a week because I wanted to make sure I had a good strong glue joint. What I turned this down for was I was wanting to make a spindle that tapered upward because I'd watched some YouTube videos and I wanted to have a spindle that I could make rings off of. I wanted to make wooden rings to go along with wooden bracelets. Well, I made a miniature lathe out of an old sewing machine motor and built a wood bed and everything for it, put it together. Well, this spindle, right size, just wouldn't hold. No matter how I tried to center it, it would wobble and it would bounce around a little bit. I don't know if it's the lathe itself because I haven't really looked into it, or if it's the wood or whatever. So I decided it just wasn't in the cards for me on that one. So what I did was I took and laminated some more oak to the 2 pieces of oak that I was making the bracelet out of. And I came up with this chunk of wood that is the head to the mallet that I made. It's oak and O'Shea orange. Now, you look at it, it looks like it's a pretty good mallet. It's got a lot of beef to it. But the problem I noticed was right here. Now you can see here there's 4 holes in it. I chucked it up on a faceplate and turned it on my lathe to get the shape that I wanted. But I didn't take into account right here where my taper was so that I could make smaller rings. That's going to be a very weak point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it flush, and I'm going to cut it off to here. I'm going to cut all of this right here out. And then I'm going to re-drill the hole, and then I'm going to put the head down to about this point right here. So I'll have this much of a mallet handle, and this much will be up inside the head to the mallet. So that's how I've taken 1, 2, and 3 projects that are fails, and I'm going to turn them into a positive project, something that I can use here in the shop. You want to move some wood or something, put a joint together or something. Well, you don't necessarily want to hit it with a metal hammer. That's where a wood mallet will come in handy. Well, that's about what I've got for this video. I'd like to thank you for tuning in and checking it out. If you like what you saw, give me a thumbs up, subscribe, like it, and come back. And speaking of my channel, I would also like to give a couple of shout outs. First shout out I'd like to give to is my son. He's recently started a YouTube channel called the Kilted Lope. What that is he has a kilt that's camouflage, and he's very proud of his kilt. He likes to run around in it. And the college that he's now attending, their mascot is an antelope. And they like to go around, lope up or go lopes. Well, he took that with his kilt, and he's become the channel of the Kilted Lope. Now, it's a channel that he uses to give Bible messages on. And I just think it'd be really good if you'd go by and see what his devotions are, and just kind of give him a thumbs up and encourage him a little bit to keep doing what he's doing. He's not going to school to be a preacher or anything. He's going to school to be a school teacher. He wants to teach history either in lower grades in school or possibly in a junior college one day. And then I'd like to give a shout out to my buddy the Gunny, Marcel, the wood butcher. He's in New Jersey, and he, like myself, is an amateur woodworker. He's a little bit better at it than I am, though. He builds birdhouses and several other things. He's got some really good videos. I believe he's got around 90 videos up on YouTube right now. And if you could go over and check out the Wood Butcher and give Marcel a thumbs up, I'd appreciate that. He's a good guy. He put in 20 years with the Marine Corps, and just go by and give a shout to him and give him some encouragement also. So until the next video, this is C-Dub signing off, and I'll talk to you later.